Das ist der Podcast des Bundesverband Rettungsdienst.
Wir führen spannende Gespräche und Diskussionen rund um das Thema Rettungswesen.
Weil es um Menschenleben geht. So, hello and warm welcome to Vienna, David Page. Thank you for coming and having you here. You're professional paramedic, as I heard. So tell us a little bit more about yourself and what keeps you busy.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. And it's wonderful. You have a beautiful country. Very warm welcome by everyone here. And it's been just great to be able to get to know your EMS system a little bit.
You work on an international paramedic registry.
Yes.
What is it and how does it work?
Thank you. The International Paramedic Registry is often misunderstood, so it's good to talk about it. It is international, so the idea is to take the competency frameworks, the standards that we have for developed EMS systems, wherever they may be, and to create a minimum competency standard at various levels of providers. So what we have currently is 3 different levels: first responder, a basic pre-hospital provider, an advanced pre-hospital provider. And we've taken the competencies that are published in the world of different governments. So we started with Australia, the UK, Canada, and the US, and then added other countries and went and validated these same standards, skills, knowledge, and professional behaviors in the countries where we operate. So the idea is to have an exam that certifies providers and says you have reached this minimum level of competency. It's a practical exam and a cognitive exam, and it has been validated through complex psychometric normal standards that we have for psychological testing, so that we can make sure to have a valid, reliable measure that is independent and very with a high level of confidence that when we do say that you know something, you actually know it.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting. So it's all about quality then. And how would you say, how would you measure in quality in EMS? So what's about, this is a discussion we always have. How can we measure? What are the key points of quality in EMS?
That's an interesting question and complex. So IPR, the International Paramedic Registry, seeks only to define and measure what we know providers should know and the skills they should be able to perform. When you talk about quality, I think the best way to measure quality is with outcomes. And so in the best systems, we see what is working for patients to suffer less or survive more, and then engineer both care and the education that is needed to provide the care to ensure that the outcome is going to occur. So if we identify a disparity in care, for example, perhaps children aren't receiving pain medication as much as their adult counterparts, then we need to re-engineer the system to make sure that children are treated with pain medications that are appropriate for them. And once we identify that, then we begin measuring it and see if we improve. So I think outcome-based education, outcome-based care will lead us to quality. And part of that comes from ensuring that the personnel in the ambulances is prepared. So certification is one of the ways, not all of the ways, but one of the ways in which we can ensure that there are providers that know and can do the things they need to do.
So it's all about numbers. So we need to know much more numbers in pre-hospital area.
Well, data helps. Yes, data helps. I think I'm less a numbers person and more a people person. But the data is definitely helpful to say, I ignored this, or I thought I knew this, but now that I see it, I actually know, I can learn and modify, right? So if you don't measure it, then you probably aren't going to be able to improve it. And in some way, asking patients, as well as the databases that we have. So it's not just about the data, but it's also where we get the data, and the data should be about patient care. And if patients are satisfied or they're feeling cared for, that's just as important as numbers on a spreadsheet. But yes, we need to do better at measuring.
So as an association, as the Paramedic Association in Austria, we are. What would be your recommendation? What should we look data first? So we don't have any data now. So what would be the first field you would go into science?
Interesting. Well, we need to advance EMS with science, and that providing evidence-based care is definitely something that is going to make a difference. So I would suggest first adopting evidence-based standards, whether they're educational courses, like you already have adopted the courses that are from the National Association of EMTs, NAEMT, that are evidence-based programs that can lead to evidence-based care. And begin, I think, organizing groups to collect information that we know could improve your system. Each community is different. And even within your communities, you might have micro communities, whether it's older patients, younger patients, patients in certain neighborhoods or in certain socioeconomic status, that you can say, this is what we want to improve, and now we're going to measure it this way, and let's see if it made a difference. And something as simple as patient satisfaction is pretty easy to implement, but there's also other ways to begin to collect the right information to get the right answer. So asking the right question is very important, collecting the right information, and acting on that information so that there is improvement.
Okay. So you're traveling a lot. You're visiting a lot of EMS systems worldwide to get your data, to see the people, to talk to them. What would you think is the best ideas worldwide? Is there a best practice, or is there? What have you seen, and what would you say?
I think there is no single system that's perfect. I think and there are many people in our work and our business that say, well, we use the American model, we use the European model. But when you ask them what is that model and how did they decide that was the model, they can't really describe it. There's probably for every state and every ambulance service a different model in the U.S. So I think the world can learn from each other. I think there are incredibly wonderful and very efficient, effective practices in many countries, especially low-income, low-resourced countries that are doing some very innovative, very out-of-the-box ways of both doing education and care. And even advanced systems can learn from those low-resourced countries to say, couldn't we implement similar models? I can tell you I work in a place that's extremely low staffed right now. We're short of people. And we should be learning about how low-resourced systems do their even call triage or resource allocation so that we can potentially save more lives and be more efficient about our care. So I think everybody has a little bit of knowledge and something they do very well. And if we could learn from each one of those systems, we would be able to advance. So reading what people are doing, learning what people are doing. There's amazing things happening in Singapore. Civil defense in Singapore has amazing technology, but also very smart people implementing that, as well as some highly evolved use of the WhatsApp system in Mexico and Colombia, where they're using encrypted WhatsApp communication to share photographs and be able to do live video with the patient, giving instructions off of a platform that's free. So there are ways in which WhatsApp was used in the 2017 Mexico City earthquake to locally identify where the USAR team was underneath the building, because their phone was tracking and they could easily charge their mobile phones. Everybody has a mobile phone charger, but it was very hard to recharge batteries off radios, and they didn't have enough of them. So being smart about using community resources is another thing that's quite innovative. So being able to train the community to not just do CPR and bring an AED, but perhaps stop the bleed with a tourniquet, or carry EpiPens in the right quantity in the right neighborhoods, so that we can. I think everybody has the same problem with traffic and response time, and yet we send ambulances to things that really. Do the lights and sirens really matter? We spend a lot of time, rushing to places that we didn't need to rush to, and then sometimes seconds count, and we should be better about learning how to use those seconds wisely.
So you yourself are a paramedic since?
I started in 1985. I do like the concept of paramedicine and the word paramedic encompassing many levels. So, but I started as a volunteer junior member and Bethesda Chevy Chase Rescue Squad outside Washington, D.C. I was not even 18 years old, and I've worked in Boston, in Fort Worth, but most of my career has been in Minnesota, in the Twin Cities.
So you're very, very experienced. And what do you think should...
I have a shoulder injury, a knee injury, a back injury, several ambulance crashes. I don't know if I'm experienced. I'm old.
Okay.
I'm old.
Wise.
Decrepit, yeah.
What would you think should a paramedic bring for the job? So which attitudes, what is important if you want to employ
I was just working an ambulance shift with a brand new person, and I was encouraging her to be curious. I think many of us fall into a pattern. We think and we see only one thing: a call, a person, a transport. And many of us begin to think that is what defines the role. I find that being curious about somebody's life, about the person that you're caring for, about meeting that person and discovering how you can help them, whether it's by, feeding their cat before you take them to the hospital, or helping them get in touch with the right doctor to get their prescription filled. I think we serve a much richer and more fulfilling role if we are seeing people, not just bodies or illnesses and injuries. I do find it a challenge to be continually prepared and learning. So there's always something to learn on every call. So I think that's another problem, is we think we've learned it in school and maybe we don't study anymore, or maybe we wait for a year or two before we take a refresher class. I think after every call, there's something that we can learn from that call. There's some medication that the patient began to take, or some procedure they did. And learning from each and every one of our patients is something that I find enriching, challenging, and makes every call an opportunity to not only make a tiny little grain of sand of improvement in somebody's life, but also improve our own knowledge and our own ability to care continuously.
Last questions. What are your plans for your future, for the future?
A retirement. I think I have enjoyed the process in which many people are participating in this registry, because it's helped sort of pay it forward, or maybe crowdsource, groupthink, a problem we all have. We think that we're all different and we're all unique, and that the way that we do it is different. But at the base, for 90% of what we do, we are very similar. People will continue to do stupid stuff, and they will continue to get injured. So they'll drink alcohol. It's the best job security we have. They'll lose their inhibition, drive inappropriately, or jump out of a perfectly good balcony, or think that their body can eat poorly for 20 years and then they won't have a heart attack. So we owe it to our patients and to the system to continually improve the way we do things. And this 90% of similarity is what we should focus on, so that we can collaborate more. And as we collaborate, we can learn from each other and solve problems together. So paramedicine is ill-defined in the world. We have many countries where we're not exactly sure what a pre-hospital provider is, who they are. We're not sure. We get confused. Is it a doctor, a nurse, an ambulance driver, a technician, a technologist, a paramedic? What is that? And I hope that as a profession, we can, with associations like the Austrian Paramedic Association, help define the role, regardless of the credential. So whether it's a doctor, a nurse, or a paramedic, we are going to open the airway in the very exact same way. And that the role is better able to then be considered an essential service within the cultures and the countries where we are. Everybody's ready to fund military and police and even fire. But when it comes to the ambulance, well, maybe you'll need it, maybe you won't. It's no longer essential. So if we can wake the public up, make sure they understand it's essential, and I think the COVID crisis gave us a very interesting window, an opportunity where the public saw how critical it was to have ambulances and people in them who knew how to take care of people. So now is a good time for paramedics to unite, to join associations and group together and make sure the public and the elected officials understand that by essential, we must not just fund tourism for the beautiful Alps that are in Austria, but also the care that those patients that might get injured during their ski vacation will need. And if we are able to do that, then we will see a change in how funding, reimbursement, careers, and hopefully the longevity of our career is managed. And I hope that by organizing a registry, ensuring we have a framework that is an evidence-based framework for competency, will ensure that the public is better protected.
David Page, thank you so much for being here, visiting and attending.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Danke fürs Dabeisein. Wir freuen uns aufs nächste Mal.
Welche Themen interessieren euch? Schreibt uns auf Instagram unter bvrd.at.